Demon Slayer Sweep the Board is Demon Slayer's second home console game, and it is also a cheaply made blatant Mario Party knockoff. The game is noticeably developed by CyberConnect 2, the developers behind Demon Slayer's previous game Hinokami Chronicles, because it literally reuses assets, models, and even cutscenes from that game. Sweep the Board is a Nintendo Switch exclusive, which begs the question, why would anyone ever buy this game over Mario Party? It is generic, low quality, and ridiculously overpriced at $60. Now, without further ado, this is why Demon Slayer Sweep the Board is a waste of money. Demon Slayer Sweep the Board is a blatant Mario Party knockoff. You play as one of 12 characters, all of which are Demon Slayers, against 3 other opponents, either CPUs or other players in local or online play, to see which of you is the superstar. Oh, sorry, I mean the one who is the most accomplished. The winner is decided at the end of the game by whoever has the most stars. Oh, sorry, I mean the most rank points. Along the way you can earn coins. Oh, sorry, I mean Slayer coins that can be used to purchase items. The general gameplay consists of traveling around one of 5 boards by rolling a dice. Each space has a different effect, some giving you Slayer coins, some giving you items, etc. The goal is to reach the destination space, which will give you some rank points. Reaching this destination space will also flip it to nighttime. Now before you get ahead of yourselves, Mario Party has had day and night cycles since the N64. During nighttime, a demon will spawn, some of the spaces will turn into demon attacks, which will make you lose Slayer coins, and the new destination space will consist of a demon boss battle. These boss battles are genuinely the only thing unique and Demon Slayer-esque of this entire game, and even then it is really boring. All you do is either shake or swing the Joy-Con in a certain direction at the right time, or just move your joystick in the right direction at the right time. It's super easy and super underwhelming, and the cutscenes in these boss battles are literally just ripped from Hinokami Chronicles. I'm not even exaggerating, just look at this side by side. It is the same thing. Aside from the boss battles, there are skill training mini-games which take place after everyone has moved for their turn. However, these mini-games only take place during the daytime, so that means if it takes forever for someone to reach the destination space during nighttime to flip it back to daytime, then you will go multiple turns without playing a minigame. Now that sounds really boring, but maybe it's a good thing, because these minigames are incredibly boring. None of these minigames feel like Demon Slayer minigames. They just feel like generic minigames with Demon Slayer characters on top of them, like this matching game or this sledding game. Something funny that happened was for the first 2 boards that I played, both times I only played 2 minigames in total, and those 2 minigames were the same exact games both times. It was the stupid matching game and the stupid sledding game. Like, what are the actual odds that I only get those 2 both times? And for the minigames that aren't just generic minigames, they'll just be inferior versions of a minigame from Mario Party, like this Inosuke sword minigame, which you just don't wake Wiggler. And the CPU opponents in these minigames either know how to perfectly complete it, or are just complete morons. For example, in that matching game, every CPU opponent just knew where the matches were. But then there was a drawing game, and every CPU opponent drew terribly on purpose. That brings up the topic of difficulty. Mario Party games are actually a good mix of skill and luck that can still remain chaotic. This game is just incredibly tame and super easy. All the minigames are dumbed down versions of Mario Party games, which make them incredibly easy to win. The boss battles are also stupid easy. Moving past the minigames, all of the boards are also generic. They feature different locations from the anime, and they all try to have their own unique mechanic, but that mechanic just boils down to the same idea. Transportation to move you from one spot in the map to another. Board 1 has boats, Board 2 has a downstream, Board 3 has a train, and Board 4 has rickshaws. Board 5 is the only board with a unique mechanic, but 4 out of 5 boards have the same gimmick. Even ignoring the gimmick, the theming of each board is incredibly generic. They all look practically the same. There's some trees here, some houses there, and that's about it. Comparing it to Mario Party's boards offerings, there's Yoshi's Tropical Island, with thwomps blocking some paths. There's Spaceland, with a coin-stealing Bowser beam and Shy Guys monitoring the paths. There's a Peach's birthday cake with plantable piranha plants who steal coins. There's Woody Woods with paths that change directions. And finally there's Horrorland with a day and night cycle. Each of these Mario Party boards has a completely different theme from one another and also has their own unique mechanics. That just cannot be said about Demon Slayer's generic boards that all blur together. I know I mentioned how the base gameplay is just ripped from Mario Party, but there are even additional mechanics that are just flat out stolen. There are Slayer specific dice, which is a mechanic in Mario Party. There are additional Slayers that can help you in game, which is also a mechanic in Mario Party. They didn't just steal the overall concept, they copied very specific gameplay elements as well. The game looks bad and runs poorly, but that's not because it's a Switch game. Nintendo knows how to make beautiful looking games that can run well on Switch, but it seems like third-party developers just don't know how to, and Demon Slayer is a great example of that. When I was first watching the footage I got of this game, I genuinely thought I was watching a 3DS game. The character models I ripped directly from Hinokami Chronicles, even reusing some of the same exact animations. However, they have been severely downgraded and are much lower quality now. Another thing of note with the models is that it feels like a lot of the minigames don't use the player models on purpose. Even the boss fights don't use the player models. Rather, it's this pseudo first-person view. I'm assuming this was done in an attempt to save money and limit how much new animation would have to be done. Moving on from the models, the boards, in addition to looking generic, also look lazy. The art style does not match Demon Slayer's art style at all, and this is apparent when the player models look out of place on every board. It's as if they took a generic map and just slapped Demon Slayer characters into it. The maps in question also just look bad. The environments look cheap, like something straight out of Pokemon Sword. They were also so lazy that they couldn't even animate and model NPCs in the background. Rather, it's just a bunch of PNGs of random townsfolk pasted onto the environment. In addition to the game looking bad, it also runs poorly. It literally lags every time the victory screen is played. This is another case of developers just not knowing how to optimize games for the Switch. But this was a Switch exclusive, so there's no logical reason for why they wouldn't optimize it for the Switch. The character selection is weird. The only playable characters are Tanjiro, Zenitsu, Inosuke, and then all of the pillars. I can understand not including demons because of the boss battles and because of the day and night mechanic. We've already established that these are just models taken from Hinokami Chronicles, so why not include the rest of the humans from that game too? Orokodaki, Sabito, Makomo, and Murata could have all been easily ported over. Orokodaki is even an NPC on one of the maps, but I think it would have been a lot better if he was just a playable character. It would have taken them no effort to do so. So far, we know that there will be at least one additional character, that being Genya, coming in a free update, which I guess is cool, but I don't really know anyone who would be clamoring to play as him. Demon Slayer's Sweep the Board was disappointing. I was looking forward to a lighthearted, fun experience, especially considering it was not a 3D arena fighter. However, I genuinely see no reason to buy this game when Mario Party Superstars exists on the same platform for the same price of $60. Now, to be completely fair, I did play this game alone against CPUs. I am willing to bet that there is some fun to be had here when playing with friends. But again, I ask, why wouldn't you just get Mario Party Superstars instead? Any game, even terrible ones, can be fun with friends because you're playing the game with your friends. You'll still have a fun time as well as experience a completely better game if you just played actual Mario Party instead. Playing with friends is not just going to magically eliminate 99% of this game's problems. I seriously believe that CyberConnect 2 took some generic Mario Party knockoff template and just slapped assets from Hinokami Chronicles into it. It is more blatantly low quality and lazy than most arena fighters out there. Did CyberConnect 2 cheaply develop this to make a quick buck off of Demon Slayer fans before working on the next Demon Slayer arena fighter? Yeah, probably. I wholeheartedly believe that, because I don't know who the target audience is for this game besides die-hard Demon Slayer fans. It is exclusive to the Nintendo Switch, but most Switch owners will already own Mario Party. It's a staple of every Nintendo console. If this was not a Nintendo Switch exclusive, then I could kind of see it working, a Mario Party-esque game for non-Nintendo platforms, but that's just not the case at all. Even if you are a huge fan of Demon Slayer, please do not buy this. I have a somewhat controversial opinion about Hinokami Chronicles. I'm not a big fan of it, but Sweep the Board makes it look like a masterpiece in comparison. If you want a Demon Slayer game, buy Hinokami Chronicles. If you want a Mario Party game, then buy Mario Party. There is no scenario where you should be buying this, especially for $60. I'm going to give this game a nice 2 out of 10. I do not recommend it at all. It will probably be heavily discounted pretty quickly, but even then, please do not buy it. I know I constantly say that we need anime games that are not arena fighters, and while that is true, we do not need cheap knockoffs of other popular games instead. Both are equally as bad. Demon Slayer Sweep the Board is a Mario Party knockoff with generic minigames that don't feel like Demon Slayer at all, repetitive boards, a bland presentation, reused assets, and underwhelming boss fights. I wish Nintendo offered refunds because this game is atrocious and a waste of my $60. Don't buy Sweep the Board, just buy Hinokami Chronicles or Mario Party instead. I'm begging you.